Good evening, happy stampers, and welcome to Tools and Techniques Thursdays. My name is Judy Anderson, and I'm an independent demonstrator from the USA. Welcome into my Happy Stamping Studio. If you're watching by YouTube, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you are alerted every time I come on. And if you are watching through Facebook, welcome. And make sure you like this, and please share this with all your friends because they want to learn some new stamping ideas also. So we are talking about a tool tonight. We are going to be doing some techniques too, but my favorite tool, which is the annual catalog. I use this catalog for ideas, casing cards throughout it, whether it be for holidays, birthdays, sympathy cards, Thanksgiving, all time of the year. I use this tool for creating my cards. So let's take a look at the catalog for a second. So let me change things up here. I need to switch. Okay, there we go. So let me turn down my phone so we don't get any feedback. There we go. So like I was saying, we are going to be using the annual catalog for some inspiration. I am muted. I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Oh, sorry, Charlie. There we go. Well, I'm turned down all the way, so hopefully you are not getting any feedback. Annual catalog. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is an idea book. And just skimming through the pages, looking at the wonderful samples in the catalog, I'm going to pinpoint a couple of them. So here on page 97 and 96, the Expressions in Ink Suite. These cards are wonderful. They go from basic to your avid stampers, but you can downtone them or you can step them up depending on what you want to do. On page 106, in particular, this card right here. This card uses the Daisy Garden background stamp, and it uses the dies from the Butterfly Brilliance bundle. Now, if you didn't have this background stamp, you could use any floral stamp that you have. You could use the daisies, you could use Dragonfly Garden, you could use the artistically inked stamp set. Any in the poppy stamp set would be wonderful to create a background. Excuse me. Ooh, I had to sneeze. So when you're looking at cards, take a good look at it and say, can I change this up? You could even change this up and use the butterflies as the background and add flowers as the dies on this one. Okay, so the particular one that I was looking at for tonight, I had a tough time, I'm going to tell you. There's so many in here that I love that it was hard to choose a card. But believe it or not, this in the Wild Suite, and this particular card right here. Now, we could use any animals. We could use any stamp set. But I'm kind of hooked right now on our pretty pumpkins. And I am getting ready with my fall cards. So I thought, you know what? I am going to show you how to switch this particular one up right here using the pretty pumpkins. Okay, and we will see how I do at the end. So we are going to be using our Stamparatus. We are going to be using some of the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. In particular, I'm going to go ahead because the base of this card is Cajun Craze, and then it does use the pattern paper, Designer Series paper that coordinates with it, and it's using the Calypso Coral patterns in it. So I thought, you know what, we're just going to stick with what they're using. We could switch it up to anything that we had that coordinated. But since this particular pack has two patterns for the Designer Series paper, and I'm going back to the card right here. This one uses different parts of the two Designer Series paper, the leopard looking one, and then, the tiger stripes. So we are going to go ahead and duplicate that by using the two patterns from this Designer Series paper. So we are going to have our card base, which is Cajun Craze. And then, like I said, and you know what? I cut these, but I think I cut them too short. So I may be having to alter them. And I only needed 3 of these, of this pattern and 2 of this pattern, but I went ahead and cut a bunch. So we have those. Then I have some Mossy Meadow scrap, Pear Pizzazz scrap, and then I have a piece of basic white that we're going to be stamping on. And this measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And that's where we're going to be doing our stamping. So we're going to start first down the center of our sample card. We have hello, hello, hello. Well, this one I am going to do gather together. Okay, I could do thank you, thank you, thank you down the middle, but I wanted to stick with the one stamp set to give you guys some more ideas. Now, when I line this up, I'm going to put my cardstock all the way at the end. Okay, I'm going to get my magnets, get a couple of magnets from down here. See if I can get them out real quick here. Now, we're going to use the magnets to hold our cardstock because we don't, and I'm going to hold it all the way up to the top and all the way to the outside. That way, if it happens to come up, I can go ahead and reposition it and I know exactly where it's at. Now we want our gather together, and I know it's going to be placed down the center, and you're probably thinking, ooh, that's going to take it up. We only need to stamp a little bit on the sides. So we're going to go ahead and line this up at the top. And I always test this. So there is one, and we are hinge stamping. So we're going to pick this up, bring it down one. It will go there. And I just want to make sure that when I hit this third one, it's still going to be onto my cardstock. If not, I would have to alter the size of my cardstock, okay? I just kind of guesstimated the sizes of the cardstock that they used. So I know that that has got a little bit more of a gap at the bottom. So I am going to go ahead and just bring it down just a little bit, and I am, instead of going directly down the center of my paper, I am going to go to the left just a little bit, okay? Because I want more of my image on the right side than on the left side. So we're going to go ahead and put that there, and I am going to use Bumblebee. So I am inking this up, and I'm hoping I'm close enough. Hello, how are you guys? Hey, good evening, Cindy, and good evening, Becky. I'm glad you made it. So we're just going to press gently down on that, not too hard. Okay, now my middle one I am going to do with Mossy Meadow. So I am actually going to skip this one and go down to here and do my bottom. And you may have noticed I have a little bit of Bumblebee down here. That's okay. We're going to hide that. There we go. Okay, I'm going to clean off my stamp. And you can't see this because I did bring my camera a little bit closer tonight because you guys have been saying I've been too far away. So I can't get everything into my frame here, I don't think. Yeah, I can barely get it in. So we are going to go ahead and ink up with Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to bring it up to the center space here, and we're going to stamp in the middle. Okay, so now those three are evenly spaced and down the center. Our Stamparatus makes that so much easier to do than trying to guess if you're just hand stamping. Okay, we're done with that. Go ahead and put this to the side. Now we're going to do our pumpkins. So we're going to stamp, and I am going to get out a piece of graph paper here. I like working on the black because it's more of a contrast. Okay, we are going to use this pumpkin image. I know you guys, I use this a lot, don't I? But it is a favorite stamp of mine. So we are going to use Cajun Craze to stamp our pumpkins. And we're going to put on our card that we are casing, bring that back into view here. There are two tigers. So there's one to the right, an image on the right, and an image on the left. So we are going to go ahead and stamp an image on the right and an image on the left. And now our image is quite big, so I'm sure that it's not all going to fit on. So we have that one there. I wish I had gotten a little bit more of that one on there. And we are going to put this one right on this side, and we are going to put it up a little bit higher. I'm checking my gather, making sure I miss that. And there's our pumpkin on that side. So we're going to be framing our words with those two images. And we are going to grab our Stampin' Blends, and I'm going to start coloring. And I've got crumb cake here for my stems of my pumpkins. And then I also have, and that was light, was that dark? Dark crumb cake. And now I have dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to blend that out with this. And it's going to blend that out, plus give it a little bit of a hue of yellow. Now while I have this out, I'm going to dab my leaves, and then right where I want a little bit of lightness, I am going to color onto my pumpkins. And this one is starting to get dry. Oh dear. Let's see the brush tip if that's any better. Oh, that seems to be a little bit better. We'll just dab these again. Okay, now for my pumpkin. I wanted my pumpkin to be a little bit brighter, so I am using Calypso Coral, and I am using the light, and then we're going to use Pumpkin Pie. So I'm going to come in and color with my Calypso Coral where I want it a little bit lighter. And I'm going to be shading this with the Pumpkin Pie. Oops, I don't want that such a straight line. But you will see how when I use the Pumpkin Pie, I'm really going to be wetting this paper quite a bit, shading this in. I'm going to go around the leaf, and I'm using a circular motion this time. A lot of times I use the stroking technique. Okay, and see how that blended, but it is shaded a little bit. I don't know if you guys can tell the shading on there. And we're going to go the same here. So I'm going to go just around that Calypso Coral. Now you want to make sure when you use your blending, your Stampin' Blends, that you are really wetting that paper. Okay, I'm going to take the Calypso Coral and I'm going to go back in with it. And this time I am stroking it. Okay, and this is going to lighten up that pumpkin pie and just brighten it up a little bit. I'm going to go over and you're going to see how well it blends. And I'm going over my Daffodil Delight. It's going to be a little bit lighter there. Okay, I'm going to take my pumpkin again and go around the edges. Now you'll notice that I'm coloring a couple times with each of my blends, and it's just depending on how you want the coloring to be. Okay, I could use Cajun Craze also to make it a little bit darker, but I do want these to be a little bit brighter on this card. Now I'm going to go back with my Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to go over the entire thing. And this is actually going to brighten those pumpkins up. Don't ask me how it does it. It just does. We'll wait, and as that dries, you will see. Okay, we're going to go for the leaves. The leaves I want to be a little bit brighter too today. So I am going to use my dark Granny Apple Green. Oops. First, I want to use my light Mossy Meadow. And I'm just going to go out from some of that veining that's on those leaves. Just take that out. Now, I'm not using the same colors that I have before. Now, I'm going to bring that color out. Like I said, I wanted these to be a little bit brighter than I've done in the past. But look at that. You really can't tell that that's Granny Apple Green, can you? It's taking that Mossy Meadow and blending it out. There we go. Okay, we need a little bit of grounding, I think. So I am going to take my crumb cake and I am just going to do a little bit of color underneath our pumpkins. I just feel that they need a little bit of grounding there. Okay, so similar yet, right? But if you notice on our card that we are casing, they have some elements at the bottom. Okay, they have some grasses and some leaves. So I have some leaves in here, and we have some vines. And I've used this one a lot. I think I'm going to use this one and kind of put it over here on this one. So we're going to go ahead and take a scrap of basic white and color that. That's really stuck to my case there. And then we're going to go ahead and just use the dyes for the leaves. So let's get this colored. Stamp and color it. So once again, I am going to, this time instead of using the Cajun Craze, I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this in Mossy Meadow because it is mostly leaves. So that makes sense, right? But we do have that little flower. Remember in that other one, I told you that we've got a little bit of a flower on that. You really don't notice it. So we're going to use our yellow for Daffodil Delight. And then I'm going to use the pumpkin pie. And I'm going to use the pumpkin pie very little, just at the tip. So I'm using my brush tip and just doing the tips of that, just for a little bit of that pumpkin color. So now, once again, our leaves, we need to use our Mossy Meadow because we want to be consistent. I should have put some yellow on there, though. Let's just scribble some yellow. Okay, let's take our Mossy Meadow. Let me know how many of you guys use the catalog to be inspired. Do you ever case our catalog? Like I said, it is my favorite tool. I think it should be, everybody's favorite tool in their toolbox. so many different ideas all the time. You can, even our mini catalogs, they have awesome ideas also. Ooh, I forgot my dies. So hang on just a second, sorry. Oh, it wouldn't be alive without a goof up. I had my dies out and I can't find them. Here they are. They're underneath my Cajun Craze card. Okay, so we're going to pull these dies out, and we're going to be using this die right here. Now these dies make cutting these out so easy and quick, and I'm not sure yet if I want to use the Mossy Meadow for the leaves or the Pear Pizzazz. So that's why I had both of those out. So we're going to get our mini cut and emboss machine. Go ahead and put our image down there and then our die. And as I've stated before, I don't use Post-it notes or anything to hold this. I will just push this in and slap it down and then run it through. And it should stay there. Now next we're going to cut our leaf dies. And you know, the other day on my live, I cut these, and I have cut them out of the Bedazzle paper, which I am super bummed that it sold out already, but it was while supplies last. So we're going to be cutting these leaves. So I'm going to cut 3 out of the Mossy Meadow and 3 out of the Pear Pizzazz. And we may use a combination of both colors. Oops. Granny Apple Green, you're probably thinking, well, Judy, you used Granny Apple Green on your leaves when you did your coloring. Yes, I did. But I feel that Granny Apple Green would be too bright, the cardstock. But the Pear Pizzazz is just like perfect. So let's take these off. Oh, I don't even have to pop them out. I just take this, scrape them off, and put them there. Now let's grab our Pear Pizzazz. See how quick and easy that is? And these, I will tell you, these leaves, I am loving them because they have like a little split in the middle. So you can tuck them behind images if you're doing 3Ds. We aren't doing 3D pumpkins today, so we won't be utilizing that. Okay. I don't even know if we're going to use these leaves. Okay, it's just have to see once we start putting it all together. Do you guys know that trick? That if your die doesn't come out and you have a small die, I just kind of bounce it on my countertop and it pops right out. I could use the brush that goes with our Take Your Pick tool. But okay, so we have these pieces. I want to do something else to this. I want to take my card up just a little bit, just a notch. And so what we're going to be doing is we are going to be doing some embossing. And so we're going to use our stylus on our Take Your Pick tool. Okay, and I am going to use, okay, why isn't this going in? There we go. Okay, I am using the larger ball. Okay, I'm going to turn this upside down. And because we used our blends, I can see the outside of the pumpkins. Okay, so this pumpkin's in front of this one. So I need to be careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting it upside down onto my piercing mat. And I'm just going to do real tiny little circles And I'm following the outline of that pumpkin. Wait till you see this. You are going to go, oh my gosh, something new. We used to do this all the time. And then I'm going to go down on the inside of each of those lines. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to pop that pumpkin. Now I'm going to do this one too. I'm going to take that all the way up there. So follow that here. Now I'm going to just follow those lines that are stamped. Okay, now I'm going to go over to this one. And why is it okay? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go around and pop up that stem. And then I'm going to go around the outside of the image. Just like that. Sorry about the dogs barking. Somebody must be outside. And take it down along here. Let's go up right there. And your lines do not have to be straight. I just thought there was a little bit of a line here. Okay. Now I do want these to pop up. Can you see that? They are now 3D. Can you see that? If I pop it next to it, that has popped these up. Now this only has some lines. I like the effect of these all being popped up. So I am just going to take in a circular motion and do this section here. And I'm going to do this section here. And I am leaving a little bit of a flat line in between them. And what that's doing is that's raising that. Can you see that? So when you run your fingers across this, they're actually raised up. So that's giving your card some more dimension without really having to do a whole lot. So try that out. I think that's just a fun little thing to do. Okay, we're going to grab our card base. I have my cardstock. So I'm going to start putting this together, but I'm going to do it a little bit backwards, okay? Because I want to make sure that my pieces are long enough. So I'm going to add my adhesive to the back of my card. Oh, sorry, Roxy is barking at somebody outside. So we are going to go ahead and just add some adhesive on the back. And then I'm going to figure out how far up I want them to be. And I think that is good enough. And then the same with this piece. Whoops. And these next ones are the ones that I'm not sure if they're long enough. Let's make sure that that's not too long. Nope, that's good. And now I'm second guessing if I think I needed to put the other ones on first. So let me take these off. Sorry, these went on top. These went behind. We're doing this backwards. I could do it the other way, but we're not going to see much of these then. So I'm going to put these on. And, oh, I think that they're going to be, well, these are, yeah, these were supposed to be 4 1/4, and I only did them 4 inches. So we're going to put that one down the center. And then, oh, you know what? I always teach you guys that when you're stamping, you want to do the 2 outside ones first and then center the center one. It's easier if you do it these that way too. But I think I got pretty close. Okay, so look to be pretty much the same length. If they're not, we can trim some off. But let's go ahead and put this on next. And I want these to go above this piece here. That piece is just peeking out a little bit. There we go. Okay, we can bring our paper trimmer in and let's even up those ends. So I'm just putting this up Oh my gosh, they're pretty dang, they are, those are straight, so these have to be pretty straight too. Oh, no. There we go, just a smidgen. Okay, so we've got that. We need to add that to our card front. Lots of little layers here, right? Hey Maggie, how are you? What if I used heavy stock cardstock? Oh, when you did the embossing, just do circular motion. Maggie, you can do it on your regular cardstock too. So I will show you right here while I have that out. So if you have a heavy hand, use the fat tip. If you have a little bit lighter tip hand, you could use the narrower one, but just go in a circular motion like this. You know, even if you go down a straight line, I work in a circular motion. If it rips, you're pushing too hard. You could also rub your stylus on some wax paper. Maybe I'll cover that next week. But see, now on this one, you can see how it's raised there? So it raises it up. I could do the same thing. Where's my Cajun Craze? I'm going to do this. See, I'm going to turn it upside down. And I'm going to take this leaf. And we're probably only going to see part of it. But I'm using that as a stencil. And I'm just going to go around the edge in a circular motion. Now, you don't have to do the entire inside. This raises the paper up. Okay. Let's see if you can see that. See how that raised that up? I'm going to do one on the other side now, just to make it match. Once again, here no, I don't want to use the small one because it'll give me two different looks to it. But play around with your cardstock, and if you have a heavy hand, like I said, rub your stylus on some wax paper. Okay, and so then that raised that up. So we have those two raised. See that? Neat little technique. It's an oldie but a goodie. Okay, yeah, and we're even going to be able to see those. Okay, so we're just going to put these on here. And just like that. Okay, now let's get our elements that we're going to add on here. Like I said, I am going to add this on. And it can go off. I'm going to use dimensionals to put that on. So let me get my minis here. And, you know, that's just going to add a little bit more dimension to our card. Besides that little bit, you know, we have embossing folders now. Back in the day when I first started, we did all our embossing like I just showed you. We had metal plates and we used a stylus. Could you imagine doing that now? How many of you would emboss as much as you do? Probably not too many of you, huh? So life has gotten easier. So we have that on this side. We need something over here. Let's do a pear pizzazz and see how I can tuck that leaf in like that. And maybe this one over here for this corner. Now I'm covering up a lot of this. So I like the way that looks. Let's see if I do it this way. Switch those around. Okay, I'm going to add my dimensionals onto the back of those. That will help hold those together. So wherever they meet, I'm adding a dimensional. And then I'll add a few more dimensionals to help hold those up. Oh my gosh. Now Minnie is flapping her mouth up there, so I don't know what they are barking at. The kids next door must be out. Only thing I can think of, and Dave's not home, so he can't handle them, and I'm not running up to handle them. It's something, though, because Max just got out of bed. Oh. Oh, dear. So do we want those this way or this way? I think I'm going to do them this way, but I don't want to hide that pumpkin there. No, I think I'm going to do them this way then. No, I want these two going up. Let's switch those around. Oh, she is being a little booger up there. Okay, now that I took them off, I'm not going to get them back on. So I'm going to place them right around these so it doesn't cover it up. And however they land, right? Let's get this dimensional under this one. So we'll tuck that under, have that go up. So this is something that you could just play with. So in our sample card, they had some little grasses and leaves on it, and we are just using the leaves. So let me pull that back out, page 44 of our annual catalog. So this was our inspiration card, and this is the card. So do you think we nailed it? Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed learning about my favorite tool and learning a couple of techniques along with it. Oops, there we go. A little bit of glare from my lights. There we go. So there we go. Now you can see it. So we did some hinge stamping. We colored with blends. We did a little bit of embossing with the stylus and learned how to use the annual catalog as a tool in our toolbox. Until next time, everybody, happy stamping. And if you are watching on replay, thank you so much for watching.